Hello and welcome to the Z Hut. Today I would like to show you how you can make your own USB handheld foam cutter. Now you're going to be able to build this for around $5. The materials are extremely cheap, and some stuff you may be able to salvage and it'll be even cheaper. So what we're going to do is first I'm going to demonstrate it working. I've got a piece of foam here and I traced a letter on it. We're going to cut that out and show you it working, and then we'll go through and show you how you can put one of these together yourself. So first I got to plug it in, and what we're using here is one of these little USB phone charger wall plugs. You do not want to actually plug this into a computer. If you do, well, do so at your own risk. I don't know if your USB plug on a computer is going to be able to supply enough amperage to run this, and it might short something out, so I don't recommend it. I recommend using one of these. So, alright, I got it plugged in. Alright, and of course, I have a trigger on here, so it's not always on. You actually have to hold the button in, but the nice thing is, I'm going to hold it on there. You see it's not cutting. I'm going to push the button, and you're going to see how quick this heats up and starts cutting. There we go. That was like not even 2 seconds. And this is cutting through this foam like butter. There we go. As you see, once I let off the trigger, it cools off very quickly. Alright. Look at that. Now we got a letter we can glue onto something or use, or we got a stencil for spray painting, whatever you wanted to do. You know, whatever you're going to be cutting the foam out for. But, alright, to build this, I'm going to unplug it again. First thing you are going to need is one of these USB wall plugs, and you're going to want to make sure it is a 1000 milliamp. I did try a 700 milliamp that I also had. I do believe that's this one right here. It would heat up and cut, but it was really slow and you had to kind of push on it. It did work, but not very good. What you could do is, I have a 4-inch cutting gap here. If you narrowed this down to about 2 to 3 inches, you could probably get away with the 700 milliamp, but I would go for one of these 1000. That is the ticket, and don't go much over that. I'm pretty sure you could probably go to like a 1200 and be fine, but try to stick with a 1000 milliamp USB phone charger wall plug. Then of course the next thing we're going to need is a USB cable. I actually got this for free. I found these junk USB headset. This is the microphone and headphone combo. I found this in the garbage can, and I didn't care if it worked or not. I'm like, oh, these USB cables are handy, and I got lucky. The day I made this, I found this that morning in a garbage can. Actually, I was at my dad's apartment taking his garbage out for him, and these were laying on top of a pile of stuff, so I'm like, hey, I'll make use of that. Alright, the next thing we're going to need is the nichrome wire. And you got to use nichrome. You can't just use regular copper wire or steel wire. You want nichrome. This is a wire that has resistance. It's used for like wire around resistors and stuff. I'm using 30 AWG. This spool came with 25 feet. I paid like $3 for it. But you only need like to do this. This is a 4-inch gap in here. It seems to work perfect. And so I think I used like 5 inches altogether, maybe 6. So you'll be able to restring this many times. And this wire will last quite a while. It's not something you got to replace every couple times you use it. Also, what we have here are 2 eye bolts. Smaller the better. Unfortunately, you know, these are bigger than what I need, but this is what my local hardware store, this was the smallest they had. Then you're also going to need 4 nuts that will fit the eye bolts. Try not to go any bigger than these here. You can kind of see the size of them. They're about as big around as a dime. I would try to find smaller, but like I said, that's all my hardware store had. Now to connect our wires inside the leads, you're going to want 2 of these. These are just those little crimp-on eyelet wire connectors, and you see, I don't know if you can see in there or not, but where the bolt comes through and the nut's on, there's one of these between there. And what I do is I crimp them on, and then I also take and solder them as well, so there's a good connection. So you'll need 2 of those. You'll need a little push button. I just got a little push button right here. These are extremely cheap. If you don't have them, you can salvage these out of all kinds of things. You're going to need a milk cap. This is off a half-gallon or 1-gallon milk jug. These fit this PVC pipe, which is the next thing we need. The amount of the piping you need itself depends. I have mine set so I can have a cutting depth of about 6 inches, maybe 7. And I can cut foam that is up to 4 inches thick. Now you can make this longer. That is no problem if you want to make this so you have a cutting depth of 1 foot. You can go 2 feet. I mean, you start getting over 1 foot, it's going to be kind of hard to control because it's getting so long. But if you're using a handheld foam cutter, you're probably just going to be cutting, like small letters or trim and stuff. So one of this size here seems to work pretty good for what I need. Then you're going to need 2 elbows and 1 T. And this is all, it was 1/2 inch, wasn't it? Or was it 1 inch? Where does it say on there? I can't remember. I do believe, yeah. What am I thinking? I should just look at the end. Yeah, it's 1/2 inch PVC pipe. If you use much bigger, it just makes it bulky. The 1/2 inch works great, and the stuff is going to be cheap. I mean, these elbows are going to be about 50 cents each. This T is going to be 75 cents to $1. They're a little more expensive. And the tubing itself, you're going to need like 3 feet worth, and you'll have some extra. Other than that, the only other thing, you're going to need some hot glue or some kind of a glue to attach the milk cap. It has the push button on it for the trigger that turns it off and on. Alright, that's all there is for the materials. Now putting it together, I mean, you can see basically, I mean, this is easy. I didn't even have to glue it. This stuff will fit together tight enough so you don't have to use PVC glue on the parts. And that makes it nice just in case something comes loose inside, you can pull it apart. And speaking of the inside, alright, I'm going to bring up here's a couple of pictures of it while I was putting it together. And you can see the wires running through it. And I got the milk cap laying off, and the push button is on there. Now to attach the push button to this, you just take, it has 4 pins on it that come out the bottom, and I cut off the two of them that I didn't need, just kept the 2 that make contact when you push the button. Then I took a sewing needle and I placed the the push button on top of it and held it kind of centered and pushed the sewing needle through where the 2 pins for the back side of the push button switch are to fit it through the milk cap. And then I put a little drop of hot glue on the back of the button, pushed it down and held it for a few moments until it cooled off and held. And of course I soldered my wires on the back side. Once again, here's a picture of what some of that looks like on the inside. Real easy to build. I don't think I really need to go into much more on the construction of this. You can look at it and see. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory how it goes together. Another note, when you string your nichrome wire across, you want to tighten it, so it's taut, but don't tighten it so this thing is like, you're not shooting an arrow. This ain't a bow and arrow. It doesn't need to be super tight. Just nice, tensioned. It's not going to loosen up from use. And you can always adjust your eye bolts. If it does loosen up a little bit, you can loosen one of the nuts on the outside and tighten the inside one up to tighten it if need be. And I think you can see there's just a slight bow to it because there's just a little bit of tension on it, but not a lot. That's all you need. All right, with that, I guess I really can't think of anything else to go over. This is pretty easy to build. I think it took me not even an hour to put this whole thing together. And that was taking my time. It is not very hard to do at all. You could substitute other things instead of the milk cap, but the nice thing about the milk cap is that inner rim that's in there fits over the 1/2-inch PVC perfectly. Fits over it perfectly, so it's centered. And then I just took and squirted some hot glue gun around it, or some hot glue out of the hot glue gun around it, and then held it on for a minute while it cooled. Good to go. And if I need to get in there for some reason to resolder something, if it comes loose, you can just take an X-Acto knife and remove the hot glue and get in there if need be. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. So, if you make one of these, go on to Facebook. You'll find a link to that below, and submit a picture of this, and I'll put it up there on Facebook, let other people see. And I'd kind of be interested to see your versions and variations of this. Leave a comment as well if you could think of something else to add to this to make it even better. So with that, I would like to thank you for joining us here at the Z Hut today. I hope you have a great day, and remember, have fun building.